It was 2:52 p.m., broad daylight with perfect visibility in the Strait of Hormuz at its narrowest point. The USS Mason, a guided missile destroyer, was escorting an American oil tanker through waters considered by Iran to be under their control. This was a standard freedom of navigation operation. Suddenly, Iranian radar locked on. 6 anti-ship missile batteries along the coast activated. 12 fast attack boats launched from Bandar Abbas, and 3 missile corvettes began moving to intercept. All were clearly visible in the afternoon sun. Tehran's message was unambiguous. This tanker would not pass, and this destroyer would not survive. Iran believed they had engineered the perfect killbox. One American destroyer in the world's most strategic chokepoint, surrounded by missile batteries, with ambush boats closing in and no apparent escape route. Their plan was to overwhelm the destroyer with simultaneous attacks, sink it in Iranian waters, capture survivors, seize the oil tanker, and publicly humiliate America. But Iran made 4 catastrophic miscalculations. First, the USS Mason was not alone. 3 American submarines were shadowing below. Second, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower carrier strike group was just 97 kilometers away with 48F A-18 Super Hornets ready to launch. Third, every Iranian missile battery was already targeted by B-1B bombers orbiting at 12,000 meters. Fourth, the tanker Iran intended to seize was carrying 12 Marine Force recon operators hidden below deck. When Iran launched their attack, they believed they were sinking 1 destroyer. Instead, they triggered the largest US naval response in the Persian Gulf since 1988. What happened in the next 47 minutes became the most devastating American counterstrike against Iranian forces in modern history. This is that story. Welcome to Strategic Horizon, where we explore pivotal moments in military history and geopolitical strategy. The Strait of Hormuz, just 34 kilometers wide at its narrowest, is the world's most strategic choke point. 20% of global oil, or 30 million barrels, passes through here every day. Iran controls the northern coast and has claimed authority over these waters for decades, regularly threatening to close the strait, halt all oil shipments, and strangle the global economy. For years, these were empty threats, until 3 weeks ago. Iran deployed 6 advanced anti-ship missile batteries along the coast. These were Chinese C-802 missiles with a range of 120 kilometers, capable of sinking destroyers. They also increased naval patrols featuring fast attack boats and missile corvettes making aggressive maneuvers against American vessels. The US response was to continue freedom of navigation operations, escorting American tankers through the strait, ignoring Iranian threats, and demonstrating to Tehran that the strait remains open and international waters remain international. At 10 a.m., the USS Mason, an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer, received its orders. Escort the oil tanker Pacific Endeavour through the Strait of Hormuz, ensure safe passage, and defend against any Iranian aggression. Captain Sarah Mitchell, Mason's commanding officer, knew this mission was high risk. She addressed her crew. "All hands, this is the captain. We are entering the strait at 11 a.m. Iranian activity is elevated. Daylight transit means perfect visibility. They'll see everything we do. Expect harassment, possibly worse. All weapon systems to full readiness. This is a combat zone. Stay sharp." What Captain Mitchell did not tell her crew was that intelligence suggested Iran was planning something. The exact nature was unknown, but chatter indicated a possible attack on American vessels. At 11:30 a.m., the Mason entered the strait with the massive oil tanker Pacific Endeavour following 1 kilometer behind. Both ships were clearly visible in the bright midday sun. By 12:15 p.m., Iranian coastal radar began active scanning, painting the Mason with targeting radar, tracking its movements and calculating firing solutions. All of this was clearly visible to Iranian observers on shore, a significant warning sign. At 1:47 p.m., 12 Iranian fast attack boats launched from Bandar Abbas. These Revolutionary Guard naval forces, armed with anti-ship missiles, moved at high speed, in full view of satellite surveillance, heading toward the strait, a major red flag. At 2:20 p.m., 3 Iranian missile corvettes, larger warships with advanced weapons, departed port heading to an intercept position visible to American reconnaissance aircraft overhead. Battle stations were called. At 2:35 p.m., Captain Mitchell received flash traffic from US Central Command. Mason, be advised, intelligence indicates imminent Iranian attack. 6 missile batteries activated, 12 boats inbound, 3 corvettes moving to intercept. You are authorized. Defensive engagement. Carrier strike group scrambling now. Hold your position. Defend the tanker. Captain Mitchell immediately ordered general quarters. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. Iranian forces inbound. We can see them approaching on radar and visually. We are authorized to engage. Weapons free on my command. The USS Mason was one of the most advanced destroyers in the US Navy. Equipped with the Aegis combat system, SM-2 surface-to-air missiles, Tomahawk cruise missiles, a 127mm deck gun, and Phalanx close-in weapon systems. However, facing 6 missile batteries firing simultaneously, 12 attack boats, and 3 corvettes, even the most advanced destroyer could be overwhelmed. At 2:52 p.m., Iranian coastal batteries launched 8 C-800 and 2 anti-ship missiles. Supersonic sea-skimming vapor trails were clearly visible in the afternoon sky, heading directly for the USS Mason. Simultaneously, the 12 fast attack boats opened fire, launching 24 smaller anti-ship missiles, their launch plumes visible for kilometers. The 3 corvettes also fired their weapons, unleashing 6 more heavy missiles. A total of 38 missiles were inbound, all targeting 1 American destroyer, all visible on radar and to the naked eye. This was the largest anti-ship missile barrage launched at a US vessel since World War II. Captain Mitchell's voice cut through the chaos. Engage. All defensive systems engage. Launch countermeasures. Return fire authorized. The USS Mason's Aegis system activated instantly, tracking all 38 inbound missiles, calculating intercept solutions, and launching SM-2 interceptor missiles. Boom, boom, boom. SM-2 missiles streaked into the sky, white contrails against the blue, radar-guided, seeking targets. The first Iranian missile was destroyed, its explosion clearly visible. Then the second, third, and fourth. But more kept coming, too many, too fast. The Phalanx CIWS systems activated, their 20mm Gatling guns firing 4,500 rounds per minute, the last line of defense. Missiles exploded at close range, brilliant flashes in the daylight, shrapnel raining down. At 2:54 p.m., 1 Iranian missile broke through, striking Mason's forward section above the waterline. An explosion. Fire and black smoke billowed into the clear sky. Casualties were reported. A second missile hit aft, causing more damage and more casualties. The USS Mason was hit, burning, but still fighting. The damage was clearly visible from the Iranian shore. Captain Mitchell demanded a damage report and ordered, return fire on those missile batteries. Tomahawks launched now. 8 Tomahawk cruise missiles launched from Mason's vertical launch cells, their launch flames bright even in daylight. Each was programmed to strike Iranian coastal missile batteries. By 2:59 p.m., the 12 Iranian attack boats had close to 5 kilometers. Machine guns, firing, more missiles launching. All their movements were clearly tracked in perfect visibility. The USS Mason's 127mm deck gun rotated. Boom, boom, boom. The first Iranian boat disintegrated, its explosion and debris clearly visible. The second exploded, the third was on fire. Yet, 9 boats remained, still attacking, as the 3 corvettes closed in. At 2:58 p.m., Captain Mitchell radioed US Central Command. Mason is hit. 2 missiles struck. Fighting fires. Smoke visible for kilometers. Engage with multiple Iranian vessels and land-based missiles. We need support now. The response came immediately. Air support inbound. 60 seconds, hold on Mason, the cavalry is coming. At 2:59 p.m., 8 F/A-18 Super Hornets screamed over the Strait of Hormuz at 1,111 km per hour, flying in the clear blue sky, clearly visible to everyone below. The pilots immediately saw the unfolding battle. The USS Mason burning but fighting, a smoke plume visible from 30 meters away, Iranian boats swarming, missiles flying everywhere, all Rhino flights, weapons free, priority targets, those corvettes and attack boats, keep them off Mason. 16 AGM-84 Harpoon anti-ship missiles were released, fire and forget. Active radar homing. Their missile trails were clearly visible in the afternoon sun. The 3 Iranian corvettes detected the missile launch and tried defensive maneuvers, but it was too late. Boom, boom, boom. All 3 corvettes were struck simultaneously. Massive explosions, brilliant fireballs in daylight, the ships breaking apart and sinking within minutes. Then, the Super Hornets turned their attention to the fast attack boats, unleashing 20mm cannon fire and precision strafing runs, tracers visible even in bright sunlight. Iranian boats exploded, burned, and sank. Smoke and flames were clearly visible from the Iranian coast. 9 boats became 6, then 3, then 0. At 3:02 p.m., the 8 Tomahawks Mason had reached the Iranian coastal missile batteries. GPS guided with 450 kg warheads, they delivered surgical strikes. Boom, boom, boom. 6 Iranian missile batteries were destroyed in synchronized explosions. Massive detonations visible from satellite. Command centers were obliterated, radar systems annihilated. But the US wasn't done. At 3:04 p.m., 2 B-1B Lancer bombers, orbiting at 12,000 meters since the battle began, received targeting data. Loaded with 48 JDAMs, Joint Direct Attack Munitions, these GPS-guided bombs were tasked to hit every Iranian naval facility within 100 kilometers. Command centers, ammunition depots, barracks, radar installations, and communications towers. Bone 1 and 2, you are cleared hot. Strike all designated targets. The B-1Bs opened their bomb bays. 24 JDAMs dropped from each bomber, 48 total, falling through the clear afternoon sky, GPS guided to within 3 meters of their target coordinates. At 3:06 p.m., every major Iranian Revolutionary Guard naval facility between Bandar Abbas and Jask erupted in flames. Command centers were destroyed, ammunition depots exploded in chain reactions, massive explosions clearly visible in daylight, barracks collapsed, and communications towers toppled. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy's entire operational capability in the Strait was eliminated in just 4 minutes. Yet, the most devastating response was still coming. At 3:08 p.m., 3 American submarines surfaced: the USS Toledo, USS Helena, and USS Alexandria Virginia class attack submarines. They had been shadowing Iranian vessels for weeks, silent, invisible, waiting. Now authorized for full engagement, they dramatically breached the surface in the afternoon sun, clearly visible from passing ships. 12 Tomahawk missiles launched from their vertical launch tubes, their launch plumes bright against the blue water. Their target, the Iranian Naval headquarters in Bandar Abbas. At 3:12 p.m., the Revolutionary Guard Navy headquarters building, the command center coordinating the entire attack, disappeared in a series of massive explosions. A smoke cloud was visible from 60 kilometers away. The admiral who had ordered the ambush was dead, his entire staff dead, the building reduced to rubble. At 3:15 p.m., 16 more F/A-18 seconds arrived from the USS Eisenhower, along with 4 EA-18 Growlers, electronic warfare aircraft, all visible in the clear sky. The Growlers jammed every Iranian military radar within 200 kilometers, rendering Iranian air defenses blind and helpless. The F/A-18 seconds began the systematic destruction of remaining Iranian naval assets. Patrol boats in port were destroyed with precision-guided bombs, their explosions clearly documented by satellite. Storage facilities were obliterated, maintenance yards flattened, and fuel depots erupted in massive fireballs, visible for 50 kilometers in clear daylight. By 3:25 p.m., the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy in the Strait of Hormuz region had been functionally destroyed, 12 attack boats sunk, 3 corvettes destroyed, 6 missile batteries eliminated, naval headquarters obliterated, and every facility burned. All this destruction was clearly visible and documented. But the Americans were still not finished. At 3:28 p.m., the Pacific Endeavour, which had been hanging back during the battle, suddenly came to life. 12 US Marines emerged from hidden compartments below deck in broad daylight, fully visible to any observers. These force recon operators, in full combat gear, had been covertly embedded on the tanker just in case Iran attempted to seize it. Two rigid-hull, inflatable boats launched from the Pacific Endeavour, carrying the 12 Marines speeding toward the Iranian coast. The boats were clearly visible in the afternoon sun. Their target? An Iranian Revolutionary Guard coastal observation post, the facility that had coordinated the missile attack. At 3:35 p.m., the Marines hit the beach. They assaulted in full daylight, using breaching charges on doors, flashbangs, and executing precision room clearing. 8 Iranian personnel were captured, all intelligence files seized, and computer systems destroyed. By 3:39 p.m., the Marines were back in their boats, extraction complete, intelligence captured. All this was visible to Iranian coastal observers, but it was too late for them to respond. At 3:39 p.m., the final hammer fell. The USS Mason, damaged but functional, fired her remaining Tomahawk's 8 missiles, their launch clearly visible in the afternoon light. Their target, the Iranian military command complex in Bandar Abbas, at 3:42 p.m., that complex ceased to exist, a massive explosion visible across the city. By 3:45 p.m., the Battle of Hormuz was over. All combat operations were conducted in clear daylight, documented by multiple sources. The USS Mason was damaged but alive, still fighting. The Pacific Endeavour was undamaged. The 12 Marines were extracted with captured intelligence. Iranian losses included 12 attack boats sunk, 3 corvettes destroyed, 6 missile batteries eliminated, naval headquarters obliterated, 57 facilities destroyed, and 320 Iranian casualties. All the destruction was clearly visible, documented, and undeniable. It was a total American victory. Within hours, Iran attempted damage control. State media reported that Iranian forces had successfully defended territorial waters against American aggression, claiming the enemy destroyer was heavily damaged and forced to retreat, and that Iranian forces were victorious. This was a complete fabrication. Satellite imagery told the truth. Crystal clear daylight photography from American reconnaissance satellites captured everything. 12 Iranian boats on the ocean floor, 3 corvettes sunk, 6 missile battery sites as smoking craters, naval headquarters, a pile of rubble, and 57 facilities destroyed. All were visible in high-resolution daylight imagery. The Pentagon released selected images, not classified combat footage, but aftermath taken in perfect afternoon lighting. Iranian corvettes capsized, burning buildings, destroyed radar installations. The message to Tehran was clear. This is what happens when you attack American vessels. Global reaction was immediate. Iran's attack on a US destroyer ended in catastrophic defeat. The Revolutionary Guard Navy was decimated in 47 minutes. Tehran's humiliation was complete. An attempted ambush became a devastating American counterstrike. The USS Mason was towed to Bahrain for repairs. All crew survived and returned to service 6 weeks later. Captain Sarah Mitchell was awarded the Navy Cross for defending her ship against an overwhelming attack. The 12 Marines who raided the Iranian observation post each received Bronze Stars for capturing critical intelligence under combat conditions, all conducted in broad daylight. The intelligence they seized revealed that Iran had been planning this ambush for 3 weeks, convinced they could sink a destroyer, capture the tanker, and force America to negotiate. Instead, they lost 320 personnel, 15 major vessels, 6 missile batteries, their naval headquarters, and their entire regional command structure, all destroyed in one afternoon. The strategic implications were massive. For years, Iran had threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, control global oil supply, and leverage it for political concessions. Operation Iron Passage proved that was a fantasy. Iran attacked one American destroyer with everything they had in the region: 38 missiles, 12 attack boats, 3 corvettes, and 6 coastal batteries, all in broad daylight, all documented, and all defeated. The result? The destroyer was damaged but survived. The entire Iranian naval force in the strait was obliterated in 47 minutes. The carrier strike group never even got close. FA 18 seconds from the Eisenhower handled everything. If America needed to force the strait open permanently, The Iranian Navy could not stop it. The UAE watched carefully, increasing cooperation with the US Fifth Fleet. Bahrain expanded naval base access. Saudi Arabia requested integrated air defense training. But most importantly, global oil markets never flinched. Despite the battle, oil prices barely moved. Why? Because markets knew America would keep the strait open. Iranian threats were empty. Tehran learned the hardest lesson. Attacking American warships does not close the strait, it gets your navy destroyed. And the whole world watches it happen in daylight. At 2:52 p.m. in the Strait of Hormuz, in broad daylight with perfect visibility, Iran launched the largest anti-ship missile attack in decades against the USS Mason. 38 missiles, 12 attack boats, 3 corvettes, 6 missile batteries, a coordinated ambush, all clearly visible in the afternoon sun. Iran believed they could sink the destroyer, seize the tanker, close the strait, and force an American retreat. By 3:39 p.m., 47 minutes later, 15 Iranian vessels were destroyed, 6 missile batteries eliminated, naval headquarters obliterated, 57 facilities burned, and 320 casualties. All destruction was clearly visible, all documented, all in daylight. The USS Mason was damaged but fighting. The Pacific Endeavour completed its passage. 12 Marines were extracted with captured intelligence. Iran tried to close the strait. Instead, they opened themselves to total destruction. And the world watched it happen. This is what happens when you attack American warships. This is Operation Iron Passage. 47 minutes. One afternoon. Catastrophic Iranian defeats. Total American victory. The Strait of Hormuz remains open. The US Navy remains dominant. Iran remains defeated. Never attack American destroyers because behind every ship, the entire Fifth Fleet is watching and they respond in daylight.